Okay, so we have, I'm going to show you how to make a bubble chart. So this graph, or this chart, shows the distance time data for a number of bicycle runs, and the altitude data represents the net change in altitude over the course of the run. So I'm going to start by creating a scatter plot of distance versus time. And I'm going to complete a linear regression. Oh, first I got to make sure it's actually a scatter plot. There we go, distance versus time scatter plot. And to complete a linear regression means you go to customize series, and it means you add a trend line. So if I add a trend line and I show the equation, that is completing a linear regression. And now there does not appear to be a strong correlation. If I calculate my correlation coefficient, I get 0.28, which is pretty low. So we are going to try something different. We are going to include the altitude data, and I'm going to create what we call a bubble chart. So usually you can't, make a graph of 3 sets of data like that, but if I go to insert chart and then go to setup and type a chart, if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see besides scatter plot there's this thing called a bubble chart. And what that does is it takes into consideration this third variable, these altitudes, and we're able to notice more of a trend. So the legend, you'll notice it points out that points of a negative altitude, so the negative 100, the negative 200, the negative 80, the negative 350, have a different trend than the points with the positive altitude. So the 110, the 170, the 100, and the 80. So that just means there's 2 different trend lines here, depending on whether the altitude is positive or negative. So what we could do is we could create 2 different scatter plots. I could take the times that are from negative altitudes. I'm going to copy those down here and create one scatter plot for those. And then I could do the same for the positive altitude times and distances. So if I go to insert chart, and if I change it to a scatter plot, and I think I have to scroll down and check that box, then there's a bit more of an obvious trend. And then I would do the same thing with the points that were left behind. So that is how you create a bubble chart to kind of allow yourself to see different trends and to look for a hidden variable.